Hello, everyone. It's really great to see so many both old and new faces. It's really great. We're having seniors joining us today from New York, Florida, California, Texas, Israel, China, South America. It's really great to have. We have over 130 seniors joining us today for our opening semester of the 2021 year. I want to welcome everyone. If this is your first class with us, my name is Jordan Mittler, and I'm the director and founder of this program. Let me just tell you a little bit about how I started this around 4 or 5 years ago. I started this program because just like my grandparents who are having trouble with using their smartphones and iPads and computers, I figured that there are many, many other seniors out there who need this one-on-one technology help. And that's what stemmed off this idea. And we're really, really excited to be here and to offer this service to you. We hope that you benefit from these classes, and we are really excited that you're all here today. So before we get started, let me just introduce you to our team. Like I said, my name is Jordan Mittler. You're going to be seeing me a lot in the Zoom. I'll be kind of running the classes. I'll be doing a lot of the teaching, and you should also be getting emails from me throughout the week, reminders about the classes, things like that. Also, in this Zoom, we have Julia Feit and Joe Kaplan, who are two other team members who will also be teaching portions of the class today. You will get to know them pretty soon. And there's one more team member who's not here today. Her name is Caroline Schwartz, but she will usually be here. So there are four members of our team. You will be seeing the four of us talk and present material throughout the class. Once again, my name is Jordan. We have Julia, Joe, and Caroline, and we will all be kind of dividing up pieces of the class and teaching you different material. So before we kind of get started with material, one of the things that we are very proud of is how organized we are in explaining you the material and also making sure you are aware of what is expected of you and how the class is actually going to run. So Joe, if you could bring up that presentation. I'm going to mention a few things now, including some basic information about the class, when we meet, how long the classes are, how long the semester is, information like that. You can go to this slide. So I first just I always like to start off our class by first telling everyone what our mission statement is and what it's always been. And I'll read it from over here. It is the responsibility of the younger generation to educate seniors about technology. The goal of Mittler Senior Technology is to cure the issue of social isolation within senior communities and to help seniors feel connected with our new world of technology. Our personalized classes strive to educate seniors on how to communicate with friends and family in the manner in which the world is accustomed to today, and how to use technological tools to enhance and simplify their daily lives. This has been our mission from the beginning, and we're hoping that this is one of our fifth or sixth or even seventh semesters that all of you will benefit from the classes and topics that we teach. That's our goal. Our goal is that you leave this class knowing how to do things that will allow you to connect with the virtual world, the new world of technology. And that's been our goal from the beginning. And hopefully we will achieve that goal in this spring 2021 semester. Okay, Joe, you can go to the next slide. So now let me tell you a little bit about the class details of what's actually going on in terms of this class. So like I said, this class, we are very proud of how organized we are. You're going to see it when we start to get through the material. We are repeating things over and over again until you fully understand the concepts. And we are very particular in how we teach and the way we teach it. So the first thing I want to mention is that obviously we're all on Zoom. I have done classes in person before. Unfortunately, we are not ready to return back to that. So this semester will take place entirely on Zoom. You're all in the right place. Congratulations for getting into the Zoom. That's already a step forward. But all our classes will take place virtually on Zoom. So you can go to the next slide. So this class will take place every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know many of you are joining us from other time zones, so please be aware if you in a different time zone. I know it's 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. There are many of you joining us from other time zones, so please keep record of that. This class is 10 lessons, so this will go on for 10 Sundays. Each lesson is approximately 60 minutes, about 1 hour. Sometimes we do go a little bit over, but it wouldn't be more than 65 minutes or anything like that. We definitely don't want to take so much of your time. It will usually be about an hour in the class. Now, something that we also do that is very, very helpful is our Zoom information is the same link and meeting ID every single class. We don't change it every week. We don't have different ones. It is the same meeting ID. It is the same link every single week. But just to be helpful, we will still send this out to you every week so you have it at your fingertips. I recommend writing this down or taking a picture of what you see on the screen because, like I said, this Zoom information will be consistent throughout all 10 weeks of this class. Okay, I see people are taking pictures, so I'll give everyone a few more seconds if you would like to. But like I said, we will be sending this out to you anyway every single week, so you have it. Okay, Jay, you can go to the next slide. Next, another thing which I mentioned to you is that we ask that you join the Zoom a few minutes early every week, which I know many of you did do today. We do have a lot to get through, and we would like to teach as much as possible. So please, it would be great if you could join at 11:25 a.m. Eastern time or so that we can get started on time. That would be very, very helpful. Now, the structure of the class works this way, where basically we will teach a topic or two topics for the first part of the class, the first around 40 minutes. And then we will do something called breakout rooms. And what this means, and even if you've taken a class with me before, we're doing this completely different this semester. But what the breakout rooms are going to be is for the last 15 minutes or so of class, you will have the option to choose a topic. So for example, today's lesson, our main topic for the first few minutes is going to be Zoom. We're going to be talking about a lot of things on Zoom that you probably aren't familiar with. And then you're going to have the option to choose between two breakout rooms. The first one today is going to be FaceTime. The second one is going to be WhatsApp, two very important programs. And every single week, the structure is going to be the same, where we're going to teach one topic or two topics for the first 40 minutes. And then for the last 15 to 20 minutes, you will have the option to choose between 1, 2, or 3 breakout rooms. And I'm going to explain everything on how to join them later on. Now, it's important to note that these are still part of the class. This is not the time where you should be leaving the Zoom. The breakout rooms are still part of the class. Either myself or one of my other team members will be in the rooms giving you some instruction. This is more to give you some creativity because if you're not interested in, let's say, WhatsApp, you have an alternative to choose from, which is FaceTime. But the main topics will be all together like we're doing right now in the main session at the beginning of the room. At the end of the breakout room sessions, everyone will come back into the main session where I will give some announcements about next week and upcoming things and things that I think that you should be aware of. Now, in terms of asking questions, as you can see, there are now about 160 people joining the Zoom, and it would be a little difficult for me to take all these individual personal questions. So unfortunately, you won't be able to ask questions during the Sunday classes, but we have instilled every single Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be offering a 30-minute Q&A session if you have any questions about Sunday's class. So once again, during Sunday's class, there are too many people for us to take individual questions. But if you do have questions, you should join our Q&A session every Monday night. We do it on Monday because it's right after the class. And you could definitely write down, if you have questions, write them down and bring them to Monday's Q&A session so that myself or Joe or Julia can answer those questions for you. And the Q&A sessions are usually much less people, so it's easier for us to take questions. So once again, if you do have questions, please write them down. Don't get frustrated that you can't unmute yourself. But we're more than happy to take those questions every Monday night at 7 p.m. Now next, just a few more things I want to mention. There are 10 classes, like I said, and each class we refer back to material from previous classes. So I do recommend attending all 10 classes. Some people do have things that come up and they have family things or things like that, and they can't attend every class. But we do record every single Zoom class. As you might be able to see at the top left of the screen, it says recording with it's like a red dot. That means that this class is being recorded, and we will be sending out a link to the recording of the class after every single class, so that for two reasons. So you could rewatch pieces of the class if you missed a segment or you want to review what we learned, and for people who completely missed the class and want to make sure that they can catch up on the material. So after every single class, you will receive a message from us with the link to the recording. Also on the screen right now is the link to our YouTube channel. And if you go to this link, you will get to all of our videos, all of our recordings and videos from not only this class, but previous semesters, all uploaded there for your own use. Okay, now next, students have asked me about taking notes in this class. What I should say is that, it's really up to your preference. We are going to be giving a lot of kind of instructions and step-by-step directions on how to do certain things. If you would like to write down some things, you're more than welcome to actually do that. But it's definitely not required. It would be more for your benefit. Okay, now next, just one or two more things. Weekly optional homework. Now, if we were to do this in person, it would be a much more interactive environment. I would collect homeworks. We would do kind of a more of a classroom type of feel. But because this is virtual, at the end of every class, I'm going to give you a few things that you could work on. So for example, if we do Zoom today, maybe one of your optional homework assignments will be to have a Zoom meeting with your family. These are obviously not required. There's no way for me to see what you're doing or what you're not doing. It's for your benefit to make sure you understood the topics and you're able to do it outside the class. Okay, so that's that. We're at the end of the class. We'll give you a few things that you could work on for weekly optional homework. Now, I'm sure many of you asking, how are you going to get all these messages from us? How are you going to get the Zoom information, the YouTube links, all of that? So we actually have two ways that you could receive messages from us. The first, and I would say the best option, is through our WhatsApp chat. If you have heard of WhatsApp and you have WhatsApp downloaded on your phone, you know how to use it, you're in all those categories, you should go to the link on the screen and it will take you to our WhatsApp chat. If you do not know what WhatsApp is, if you have no idea what WhatsApp is, or maybe you don't know how to join the chat, or you don't know how to use WhatsApp, if you're in those categories, one of our breakout rooms today will be dedicated to WhatsApp, and you should make sure to join that room so I can guide you and allow you to join our WhatsApp chat. So once again, if you know what WhatsApp is, you know how to use it, you're able to join a WhatsApp group, just type in that link to the internet on your phone, and you'll be able to join our WhatsApp chat. If you're unsure how to do that, then don't worry. Make sure to join the WhatsApp breakout room when the time comes at the end of the class today. Also, I have my email over here. It's just jordan@mittlerseniortech.com. The same thing applies to Julia, Caroline, and Joe. It's just our first name followed by mittlerseniortech.com. Feel free to communicate with us, ask us questions throughout the class. We are very responsive on email. And if you send us emails, we'll hopefully get back to you as soon as we can. Now, even after the WhatsApp breakout room today, if there are some of you who are really against WhatsApp and you love using your email account, we also have an email list for those seniors who would rather receive our updates through email. No matter if you're in the WhatsApp chat or the email list, you'll be receiving the same information. But our preference is that you use WhatsApp because it is a very popular program and it's important that you learn how to use it. So for those of you who are not in that category, that you know how to use WhatsApp and you're familiar with it, please join that breakout room at the end of the class today. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to mention, you can go to the next slide, is, I'm not sure if any of you kind of care about this stuff, but we have our website, Instagram, and Facebook on the screen. We also post updates here, which you could definitely see, but everything that's really important for you to know will be sent either to your email address if you're on our email list or to our WhatsApp chat if you're there. So that's our website, Instagram, and Facebook accounts where we post kind of updates and new things that are happening with our program. Okay, Jen, you go to the next slide. Here we go. Okay, so this is the last thing I'm going to mention. Now, I just want to clarify because I know some of you were confused. The class that you're in right now is completely free. This is a free 10-week class. There's no expense for this class. This is every Sunday for an hour. It's a free class. We also offer, this is a new thing that we started. We created a virtual portal using the link right below, which has 2 classes right now that are professionally recorded. They were recorded in a studio, and both classes are pretty amazing. We've received tons of positive feedback from that. This is a very premium service. So if you're interested, you can sign up for one of these classes. These are recorded classes, so you can take these classes at your pace, at your time, whenever you want. We offer our computer basics class at $5 class. and our advanced computers class at $7.50 a class. These classes can be done simultaneously during this class because you could do it at any time, or you could do it afterwards and kind of focus on this one for now. I just wanted to mention to you that if you go to this link, you could try out one or both of these classes. We've received tons of positive feedback about them, and I definitely recommend checking them out. We will be sending all this information to you later this afternoon in a recording, the recording of the class, and also in our WhatsApp and email messages. So if you missed some of the links and some of the things that were just put on the screen, you don't have to worry about it. You could always email me or one of our team members if you missed something. We will be happy to send you more information. Okay, so everything I just said so far has just been kind of the structure of the class, how we run the class, how we communicate with you. If you have any questions on that, feel free to email me. You could put information into the chat, which we're actually going to explain when we discuss Zoom. There's a chat functionality here that you can put in questions if you do have any. But like I said, I recommend, if you do have questions, joining that Q&A session on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Okay, let's go to the next slide, Joe. So now that we have kind of covered the basic outlines, I would like to start getting into material today. So like I said, today's lesson will first start out with Zoom. Zoom is going to be our main topic that we cover all together in the main session. And then you will have the option to choose between FaceTime and WhatsApp, our two alternatives. You could join either breakout room and learn from either from either the FaceTime group or the WhatsApp. But like I said, if you do not have WhatsApp, if you're not familiar with WhatsApp, you should join the WhatsApp room. So I can show you how to join our WhatsApp chat and receive updates from our class. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about Zoom. Zoom has become a pretty popular program nowadays. Even if all of you have successfully joined a Zoom meeting, which is step one, we're hopefully going to teach you a few new things that you haven't been familiar with. Even if you think you're a master at Zoom, there are always new things that you could learn. Now, Zoom obviously hasn't been a thing for a long time. It came out, it's a very new program. Even myself, I only started using it in March of last year when we started having virtual learning and virtual school. So Zoom is a very new program, and it does take time to get used to, but you could see how amazing it is, how we have 170 seniors joining us, which we would never have been able to do if we were doing this in an in-person classroom. All right, Joe, you can go to the next slide. Let me tell you a little bit about Zoom. So Zoom is a free service. Some people think, maybe do I have to get an account? Do I have to pay for Zoom? Zoom is a free service that lets you video chat with large groups of people on your computer or mobile device. There are a lot of other video chat services, but Zoom allows you to have much more participants. For example, if you use FaceTime or Skype or Google Meets, the participant maximum is much less. Zoom, you could see right now it's only 170, but you could have up to thousands of participants on a Zoom meeting, which is really amazing. That's one of the main kind of standout differences. Zoom is also much more official. It's much more formal. You could see how this is more of a classroom environment. It's not like a casual phone call, but it's more of a official classroom environment. Let's see what else. Another key feature is that participants do not need a Zoom account or even the Zoom app to join a meeting. While this makes Zoom more user-friendly, skipping those steps will limit what you can do. So we're actually going to explain this later on, but you do not need an account. I'm assuming many of you who are joining today did not put in your email or password or things like that. You just clicked on join a meeting and typed in the meeting ID or clicked on the link, which is totally fine. The only downside, if you do have a Zoom account, you have the ability to host a Zoom meeting, which some of we're going to explain later today. If you want to host your own Zoom meetings, meaning right now I'm the host because I'm presenting the material. If you want to run your own Zoom meetings for your family or have a gathering, for that you do need a Zoom account. But to join a meeting, just like you're doing today, there is no Zoom account required. So once again, to host your own meeting, a Zoom account is needed. But just to join a meeting, you do not need any sort of Zoom account. We're going to explain how to create an account in a second. Okay, let's go to the next slide. We're actually going to bypass the step of downloading Zoom because you all, even if you don't think you do, you all have Zoom downloaded. If you're joining this Zoom meeting today, you all have Zoom downloaded one way or another. So we're actually going to skip over that procedure. Because even if you don't think you all have Zoom downloaded, or else you wouldn't be able to use Zoom today. When you open up Zoom, on the left side is what you're going to see when you open up a computer. And on the right side is what you're going to see when you open up a phone or a tablet. Both of them look pretty similar. They have some of the same buttons. But this is what you're going to see when you open up Zoom. Now, if you don't have an account, you would go ahead, you would click on join a meeting, and you would be able to type in the meeting ID or the link, etc. If you do have an account, I recommend signing in with an account so that you have it, so that you have all your information stored and that you could host meetings. To sign in or sign up on a computer, you'll click on sign in, which is the button right below join a meeting, and you'll also have the sign up or sign in button on the phone right below join a meeting. So if you click on sign in or sign up, Joe, you can go to the next slide. This is what you're going to see. You're going to see this page over here. Basically, if you do have an account, you would type in your email and password and sign in. If you do not have an account, you would click on sign up free. Joe, if you can give me annotate access. I don't think I have that. If you click on sign up free, you'll be able to type in some basic information like your birthday, your email account, things like that. And from there, you'll be able to get a Zoom account. So getting a Zoom account is free, but there are a few things that Zoom will ask you to actually type in. But once again, here's the sign up free button. This is what you'll click on to sign up for a Zoom account. If you already have one, just type in your email and password. Write down this information when you create your account so you don't forget it, because I know people have tons of passwords and things going on between their emails and other accounts on different programs. So it makes sense to keep a record of your passwords and emails. But like I said, it is totally unnecessary to create an account if all you're doing is joining meetings, because that could be done without a Zoom account. This is for people who are interested in hosting their own Zoom meetings. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now, in terms of joining a meeting, I'm going to pass it over to Julia to explain the two methods, how to join a Zoom meeting and how you could use either of them.
Hi guys, I'm Julia. So I'm going to explain to you guys how you can join a Zoom meeting. So there's two ways to join any Zoom meeting. Either you can use the link that you'll be provided with. So Jordan has sent out a link to this Zoom meeting, and you either clicked on that Zoom link and it took you into this meeting, or you manually typed in the Zoom meeting ID, and this meeting does not have a password, but some of them do have a password. So you would type in the meeting ID and optional password, and that would take you into the Zoom meeting. So you can use either of those methods, whichever one is easier for you. You can type in the meeting ID and password, or you can click on the link which would be provided for you. The link is usually easier to use because all you need to do is click on it once, but you might need to use the meeting ID if, let's say, someone texts you the link on your phone and you want to join the meeting on your computer. You only have the link on your phone and you don't have the link on your computer, so you would just type in the meeting ID and password, and that would take you into the Zoom meeting. So once you open up Zoom, you should see this slide like Jordan explained. On the left would be the computer and on the right would be the phone. So in order to join a meeting, you would click on these blue buttons which say join a meeting. And this is where you would type in the meeting ID and or password, which are part of the Zoom meeting in order to get in to the main session. So if you joined today and you use the Zoom meeting ID, you probably clicked on this blue button, which said join a meeting, and you typed in that meeting ID number. Our meeting does not have a password. And then it took you into this Mittler Senior Technology Zoom. The alternative was for you guys to click on the link, which you had in advance, and that also took you into the Zoom meeting. So this is how you would join a Zoom meeting once you have an account. So for the other one, you could see that it was not signed in. But over here, once you're signed into a Zoom account, the screen would look a little different. In order to join a meeting, you would click on that blue join meeting. And as you could see, there's also an orange new meeting, which means that you can start a meeting. So when you're signed in, you can be the host of a meeting and you can start a new meeting by clicking on that orange button. When you're not signed in, there was no option to start a new meeting. The only thing you're able to do is join an already existing meeting. So here, once you're signed in, you would click on that join button with the plus, and it would take you into the next screen where you would type in the meeting ID and the name that you want to join with, and then you would press join, and that would take you into the meeting. On a phone, it's a similar thing. You would type in the meeting ID, you would type in the name that you want to appear when you join the meeting, and you would press that join button, and it would take you into the Zoom meeting. And if there is a password, it will tell you to type in the password, which you probably already have for whatever Zoom meeting it is. And once you would type in that password, you could join the meeting. So again, our meeting does not have a password. That's up to the host if they want to create a password for extra security, but it makes it a little more complicated if you need to type in the password before joining the meeting. You will also be prompted to either join the meeting with video or without video. So as you can see, some of the participants in this meeting have their video on, and others just have a name, which means that their video is off. So you can choose whether you would like to have your video on or off during the meeting, which means that the other participants and the host are able to see you in the meeting. So we would encourage everyone to turn on their videos in this class if they're able to, so that it will be more of a direct classroom experience if they're able to turn on their videos. We would appreciate that. So once you are in this Zoom meeting, it will give you a screen which will let you know that the meeting host will let you in soon. This means that you are in the virtual waiting room. So all of you today, when you joined the class, you got a similar screen that said, please wait, the host will let you in, which means that we will, the host of the meeting, which was us this time, will admit you into the room. So this is just extra security so that you don't have random people joining into your Zoom meeting. The host is able to monitor who they allow into the Zoom meeting. So they would just need to click on that admit button, and then anyone who's in the Zoom meeting can join into the actual main session and participate in the Zoom call. So if you are the host of a meeting, just keep in mind that you would need to admit people into your from your waiting room into the Zoom meeting. Another thing that people often have trouble with is joining with computer audio or your phone's audio so that you're able to hear what's going on in the Zoom meeting. So you want to make sure that when you're either on your computer or on your phone, you're going to click on join with computer audio or call in using internet audio. And this will ensure that you're able to hear everything that's going on. If you don't join, it's just you're not going to hear anything. You might see the things that are going on, but if you can't hear us right now, you should definitely click on join with audio. And that will help you make sure that you are able to hear everyone in the Zoom meeting. So here, as you can see, this is an example of someone who sent a Zoom meeting link. They sent the link and the meeting ID. So here it would be much more simple to just click on that link and it would take you into Zoom. You would probably wait in the waiting room and then the host would let you into the meeting. If, let's say, you got this email on your computer and you wanted to join the Zoom on your phone, you would open up Zoom on your phone and you would type in the meeting ID and password, and that would also take you into this same Zoom meeting.
Okay, great. So Julia just walked you through the two main methods on how to join a Zoom meeting, which include a meeting ID, the 9-digit code, and also joining with a link. Like she said, the preference is always to join with a link because it's much easier. You just have to click on it, and that's all you have to do. The password's already in there. It's all encrypted into that one link. What you use the meeting ID for is if you want to join on a separate device, meaning if you receive a WhatsApp message from us on your phone and you want to join the Zoom meeting on your computer, you might want to type in the meeting ID instead of typing in every single letter of that long link. So the meeting ID is definitely very helpful. Either of them will take you to the same place. I'm sure many of you today used both of these options, and both of them work totally fine. You will get accustomed as you join more and more Zoom meetings to using one method or the other. You can go to the next slide, Joe. So everyone's, who's in a Zoom meeting right now should actually see at the bottom of their screen a bar that looks somewhat similar to what's on my screen right now. If you are on an iPad or a computer, if you're on an iPad or a phone, a smartphone or a tablet that's not a computer, it looks a little bit different, but you should see some of the same buttons. But right now, what you see on the screen is exactly what you should see on the bottom of a computer screen. You might have to move your mouse in order to find it, but this is what you should see at the bottom of your screen. Joe's now going to explain a few of these buttons and which ones are kind of important for you to be aware of.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Uh, the first button on the left is the mute button. Um, if you want people to be able to hear you, then then it should look like this. But if you would click on it, then it would switch to unmute, and there would be a red line through the microphone, which means that now people would not be able to hear you. Um, so that's just what you cannot unmute now because we disable participants on mute. Um, it's but if in another meeting, if you want to mute or unmute yourself, you just click on this button on the left. The next button is stop video. Right now, this person's video is on. If you want your video to be off, you should just click on that button, and then there will be a red line through the camera, and you will not, and your video will be stopped, so no one will be able to see you. We encourage, as Julia said, we encourage everyone to have their videos on to make it more interactive. But if you need to turn your video off, you just press that button. The next button, which is more towards the middle, is participants. If you click on, and as you can see next to the two people, there is a number. If you right now there are 166 participants in this meeting, so if you look at your participants button, you should see the number 166 next to it. If you click on participants, you can see the name of you can see the names of all the participants who are in the meeting. Next button to the right is, if you click on participants, this will show up. If you click on it now, it will be a longer list of names, and you would have to scroll through to get to all of them. Okay. The next button over to the right is chat. Chat is if you want to message someone within the meeting. If you click on chat, you should see this come up. And to type in your message, you just type your message and then you press enter, and your message will be sent. Feel free right now to send in the chat where you heard about the class. Another thing is, if you want to message someone privately instead of messaging everyone in the meeting, you can click on everyone on that right next to two, and then a drop down menu will come up, and you can click on the name of whoever you want to send the message to. The next two, share screen or record, are not so relevant because only myself, Jordan, and Julia have the ability to do that right now. So we're just gonna skip over that for now. The next one is reactions. And when you click on reactions, you should see this pop up on the bottom. As you can see, there is clapping, there's a thumbs up, yes, no, slower, faster. These are, if you click on one of these are all ways to let the host know how you're feeling about the class. If you feel like the class is moving too slowly, and you click on slower, then the host can see that. If you have a question, you can raise your hand by clicking on the raise hand button. We cannot see everyone because there are so many participants. So if you raise your hand physically, we probably won't be able to see you. But if you click on reactions and then click on raise hand, we will be able to see you. If you have been in other classes with us before on Zoom, we used to say that you click on participants and then raise hand, but that is not the case anymore as Zoom updated. They updated Zoom, so you have to click on reactions and then click on raise hand. The last thing on the right is leave meeting. If you want to leave a meeting, you click on that button. It will give you a confirmation, and you just press leave meeting again if you want to leave. And on the phone, this is on the phone. It would look the same on an iPad. As you can see, it's unmute, start video, share screen, participants are on the bottom. But a phone is smaller, so there's not enough room for all of them. If you click on more, then the screen on the right will come up, and you'll have other options to raise your hand, chat, and use all these reactions. And then the last thing is, if you're on a phone or an iPad or a tablet, you're to leave the meeting, that button will be on the top right instead of the bottom right. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. I hope that clarified where things are in the Zoom meeting. Once again, if you're on a computer, everything should be laid out neatly on the bottom of the screen. If you're on a phone, or a tablet, it might be in a few different places, but you should see them either at the top or the bottom. You might have to click on more in order to see all of them. But all of these functions are pretty useful in terms of making sure that you're muted or unmuted, turning on and off your video, seeing the participants in the Zoom meeting, chatting with one of us or everyone in the Zoom meeting, screen sharing and recording, which Joe skipped over because if you try and click on those, you won't be able to. But typically, if you're the host of a meeting, you could screen share, meaning right now you're all looking at Joe's screen. You're looking at our screen right now, something you would do as a host. Reactions to put up thumbs up or things like that. And then, of course, to leave the Zoom meeting. Now, there are a few of you who have mentioned that I want to know how to host a meeting. I want to have a family gathering next week, and I want to be the host of the meeting. I want to send out the information. It is a little similar in terms of how you join a meeting, that you could do it in 2 methods, things like that, but there are a few different ways. The important thing that you should be aware of, which we have said over and over again, is that this does require an account. To host your own Zoom meeting, you do need an account. Joining a meeting does not. So everything that we're about to explain in terms of hosting a meeting, you do need an account, but the account is free. All you have to do is click on sign up, like we showed you at the beginning, type in the information that it asks for, like your birthday, your email, your name, and you'll be able to create an account. It does not charge anything for you to create a Zoom account, but it is required in order to host a Zoom meeting. So Julia is now going to explain how to host a Zoom meeting.
Okay, so before, to join somebody else's meeting, we clicked on that blue join button with the plus. But now, in order to start your own Zoom meeting where you're the host of the meeting, you're going to click on that orange new meeting button, and that will allow you to create a new meeting that you can now invite new people into this meeting. So once you would click on that orange button, it would take you to the next page where you would be in this new Zoom meeting. And in order to have people join your Zoom meeting, you're going to need to send them the information, whether it's the meeting ID or the link. They need to know how to get into your new Zoom meeting. So in order to find out that information, you're going to click on that green check on the top left corner. And you should see, even in our Zoom meeting, you're going to find all of the information about the Zoom meeting, the meeting ID, the host, the link, and all of those things are really important if you are starting your own Zoom meeting, because you would need to copy that information. You could see there's a blue copy link button, and you could text that information to your friends or family which you want to join the Zoom meeting. So again, once you start your new Zoom meeting, you're now the host of the meeting. And in order for people to know how to join your meeting, you're going to need to send them the link or the meeting ID. So that you would do by clicking on that green check on the top left corner, copying the link, and then you're able to then send that link to anybody who you want to join, whether it's through text or through email. You would send that link, and then they would be able to click on it and join your new meeting. So that was how you created a new Zoom meeting on the spot. As you could see, when you clicked on new meeting, it took you directly into a meeting. And you are now in the middle of this meeting, and you had the opportunity to send the information to anybody who you'd like so that they are able to join the meeting. But let's say you wanted to schedule a meeting. So you know that you want to have a Zoom next Friday with your family, but you don't want to start the meeting now because the Zoom is not for a week. So you would click on this blue schedule button, which would allow you to schedule a meeting in advance. And then you could send out the meeting ID. You could send out the link in advance so that people know to join your meeting and you don't need to scramble and send out the meeting ID that second when you want people to join. You could send out the link and the meeting ID in advance like we do for this class so that you know in advance what link you need to use and what meeting ID you need to use. So when you click on this blue schedule button, it would take you to a page where you're able to put in your name and the meeting ID. I mean, your name and the time that you want to start the meeting. So as you could see, it gives you this topic where that's where you're able to put in the name of the meeting. So ours would be Mittler Senior Technology, and that's the name of the meeting. You would type in the date and the time of your meeting. And also you could click right below it. You could see if it's a recurring meeting. So our class happens every Sunday. So it would be a recurring meeting. You could check that box. And the rest of it is not really so relevant. And once you type in the topic, the date and time, and click whether it's a recurring meeting, you would press save. And this would save this Zoom meeting to your calendar. And you would have this Zoom meeting ready and available for whenever that time comes to start that Zoom meeting. So then once you schedule a meeting, if you went into your Zoom app and you clicked on that meetings button on top, you would see a list of any future meetings that you have coming up. So let's say you scheduled 2 Zoom meetings. Once you click on that meetings button, you would see a schedule of all of your Zoom meetings and the times that they're coming, the names of the Zooms, so that you have it in an organized place, and those will all be happening at some point in the future.
Okay, great. So like Julia said, hosting a meeting is pretty simple. You do need a Zoom account. If you want to start one right now, click on the orange button that says new meeting. If you want to schedule one in advance, click on the button right below that says schedule. And the process is the exact same on a smartphone or tablet, but you do need a Zoom account. So if you do not have one and you would like to do what we explained today, make sure you do that after the class and you'll be able to host your own Zoom meetings. Trust me, your grandchildren will be very impressed if you could host your own Zoom meeting and invite them to actually attend it. It will be pretty cool. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now, just something also I should mention, when you host your own Zoom meeting, you will have to let people into the waiting room because you're the host, just like we're doing today. You'll see something like this come down from the top of the screen. Jordan Mittler entered the waiting room, and you can click on admit. If you're not sure about it, you could just click on the X. But this is something that the host has to do. You don't have to do it today because you're not the host in the meeting, but the host would have to do this when you're the host. And the last thing, you go to the next slide, Joe, is that instead of the button saying leave, it then says end because you're the host, so you control, the meeting. So as soon as you click on end, it will end the meeting for everyone in the Zoom, not just you. Versus today, if you leave the Zoom meeting is still going on. You can't control if you end the whole Zoom meeting, but the host can. So you want to be aware of that when you leave the Zoom meeting as a host, you are ending the meeting for everyone in the Zoom meeting, not just for you. Okay, Joe, let's go to the next slide. I'm going to briefly explain how to set a virtual background. This is something that is pretty cool, something that's just a little bit of an extra thing I want to mention. If you click on the arrow directly to the right of the start or stop video on your computer or on your, on a tablet, I'll explain a tablet in a second. If you're on a computer, let's do a computer first. If you're on a computer, you want to click on the arrow directly to the right of start or stop video. Once you do that, you want to click on the button that says choose virtual background. Once again, this is only for people on a computer. I'm going to explain a phone and a tablet in a second. If you're on a computer, click on the little arrow, click on choose virtual background. Go to the next slide, Joe. Once you do that, you will see this panel over here. Joe, just go back. There you go. Once you click on choose virtual background, you will see this where you could choose from one of Zoom's default templates, or you can click on the plus in order to add your own picture. So for example, let me just see if everyone can look at me over here. I'm not sure if here I can spotlight my video so you can see me clearly, but there's me. And you can see how there's all these kind of cool things behind me. I could switch it to the Earth. There's the Earth. Here's the San Francisco Bridge. Now we have this moving all the lights and the beach, different things that Zoom has to offer. So you're definitely welcome to play around with that, something that is pretty cool by going to choose virtual background. Now, if you're on a smartphone or tablet, which is I know many of you, the process is slightly different. Joe, you can go to the next slide. You should click on more at the bottom right of the screen. And then you'll see virtual background will be one of your options. Virtual background will be one of the options once you click on more. And then you, just like on a computer, you will see the options that Zoom has to offer. If you want to, if you want to have your own picture, you can just click on the plus and you'll be able to add your own picture on the right from your camera roll. So you could use a picture of your family if you want that behind you. But once again, on a phone or tablet, click on more, click on virtual background, then click on the plus in order to add your own picture or use one of Zoom's pre-made templates, which you're more than welcome to use. Let's go to the next slide, Joe. Now, last thing we're going to mention regarding Zoom, and this is pretty important. Joe, you can actually stop screen sharing for a second because I think that it'll be, you could see it better if you're on the gallery. If everyone looks at the top right of their screen, you'll see a button that says View. This is for people who are I think on a computer. It's clearest if you're on a computer. You'll see a View button, and if you click on that, you'll see two options: Speaker and Gallery View. On a phone or on a tablet, it is a little more tricky because the screen's smaller, so you can't have different views. But if you click on View at the top right of the screen, you could switch between Speaker and Gallery View. Speaker means that you will see the person who is currently speaking. So right now, if you're on speaker view, you're looking at me because I'm currently speaking. When Julia starts speaking, it will switch to her video. When Joe starts speaking, it will switch to his video. That's something that does automatically. If you would like to see the person who is currently speaking, stay on speaker view. My preference, I always like to be on gallery view so I could look at more people. I'm now looking at 49 people. My grid 7x7. I think for yours it might be 20. It might be 5x5. But if you click on gallery view, you could see much more people. As a teacher, it's more helpful to see more people. But if you would rather only see the speaker, which is many of you, just you can keep it on speaker view. It's important to note, speaker view moves around with the speaker of the Zoom meeting. Gallery view gives you a grid of everyone in the Zoom meeting. Okay, Joe, you could play the video. If not, we could just skip it. Yeah, Joe, let's just skip over that because we're running out of time today. Okay, so that concludes our tutorial on Zoom today. We hope that you kind of benefited from that. Now, what we're going to do for the last 10 or so minutes of class is you have the ability to choose between two options, FaceTime and WhatsApp. Now, let me explain briefly how to join which room you want to join, because we're going to be doing this every single week. So once you know how to do it, it will be helpful every week. John, you can go to the next slide. If you're on a computer, which Joe, you don't have to open them yet. You cannot do this yet because we have not opened up the rooms. But in a second, you're going to be able to click on breakout rooms at the bottom of your screen. Then you will bring your mouse to the room that you want to join and click on join. It will ask, you might ask you to confirm, you'll click on yes. This you cannot do yet. So if you're trying to do it, stop trying. We have not opened up the rooms yet. If you're on a computer or tablet, you want to click on the screen so that you see the buttons at the bottom and the top. And then you'll click on join breakout room at the top left. And you will click on the breakout room you would like to join. So in a second, Joe's about to open up the rooms. You should try and follow these instructions. I'm going to keep them on the screen. If not, Joe will help you get into the room that you would like to. Once again, if you are unfamiliar with WhatsApp, please join the WhatsApp chat so I can help you get into the WhatsApp group. If you are confident, or if you're really interested in learning about FaceTime, that's also fine. You could join the FaceTime. It's up to you which room you would like to join. This is meant to give you some more creativity. Instead of us forcing on a topic, you now have the ability to choose between two of them. So Joe, you can go ahead and open up the rooms. If you're on a computer or smartphone, try and follow these instructions and join the breakout room of your choice. We will see everyone as soon as you join your rooms.